Well. Good morning, everybody. It's Monday on the Morning Night Live, and I'm here. I got my coffee, and I'm pretty much ready to go. I don't have everything in order completely because I got home a little late, but I'm here. No fear. Get used to it. Anyway, so I don't know what else to say, so I'm just going to play the intro. Johnny, play the intro. Johnny. Yeah, play the intro. Now. Okay, got it. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawg Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Monday, December 7th, that day that will live in infamy. Is this the day? Yeah, the day that lives in, is that something like that? It's also, as you know, it's Metal Monday. Oh, what happened there? There we go. It's Metal Monday. We'll just do a moment of... Yeah. Now this one has a little bit of a hip-hop backbeat to it, but... All right. Yeah. And we'll turn it down a little bit just because I know you want to hear what I have to say. At least I hope so. That's why you're here, right? Anyway, it's Metal Monday on the Morning Night Live, so we'll have a little metal background on Mondays and Fridays. We do a little music just to make it interesting, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if you're not into the music, well, then I just leave it quiet and you get to hear the soothing tones of Dawg Knight. But not today. Let's go. So today, the big thing, well, here's the thing. When I was setting up this show, there were two big stories that I was thinking about when I set it up. One was the fact that we're making a big deal out of the fact that Rudy Giuliani has the vid. He got the vid, man. He got the vid. As in the COVID, right? And then the other story was this weird video of Joe Biden talking about how if he had disagreements with his vice president, well, then he would just do what he did when he was having disagreements with the president when he was the vice president, and that he would develop some sudden illness and step down. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is Joe Biden saying here? And it's so funny because, you know, he keeps letting these little things slip that many of us thought may just be part of the plan. So I went to look for that this morning because I forgot to bookmark it when I had it in the queue on Friday. And then I saw it again on Saturday. A lot of people had tweeted that thing out. And all of a sudden this morning when I go to find them, I can't find one. So if any of you have one, put it in the chat because I am really distraught that I don't have that clip. And for some reason, now I'm sure if I look through some of the different news sources I use, I would be able to find it. But I just had a tweet clip of it And now I can't even find one. I did several different types of searches, just searching Joe Biden. In fact, let me do this again. Joe Biden. You would think that clip would be one of the ones that came up pretty quickly. And it seems like it's been kind of removed from all the searches. So anyway, oh, this is funny though. I do have to laugh at Casey Hunt. Let me bookmark that because that's ridiculous. Oh, what the hell did I just do there? Okay. Anyway, so like I said, apparently the biggest news yesterday was that President Trump mentioned that Rudy Giuliani had the coup, but also President Trump had a huge rally down in Georgia. The president went down to Georgia. He was looking for some votes to steal. Right? Anyway, all right, before I really get into this too deep, how about I say good morning to everybody? Because, that's kind of what I do. In the chat first today was James PFP, who has a longitudinal advantage to be here early, as he says, and you get the bell, sir. Good morning. Also, good morning to Stab and Joe Scarborough, American Knives spokesmodel. Also, good morning to Renee Mayette, Cindy Rochelle, Big Assassin 80, Mike Savage, Blarg, Gundam BRVTS, aka Brutus, the avatar formerly known as Brutus, with the, there you go. And reminding us that it is December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. He says the day that Japan royally fucked up. Also, good morning, Duck Dog, Advocatus Diaboli, Keenan's in the house, Jonathan Peterson. I always have to look close when I see your name because I always don't want to get it mixed up with Jonas Pedersen because those are so close together. Good morning, Reese Donald. It's biobombs time. Biochemical warfare is I don't know what that means. I'm gonna have to find out. Good morning to Select a Boy. Yeah, boy. Good morning, Donatello Slappafellow, one of my favorite names on the internet. Also, DI Freighter Watcher, Sapphire Dragon. Maddie's in the house. By the way, go check out Maddie's channel. She's got. I've got to check out your book that you're finished. Maddie finished a book. So we're gonna have to check that out one of these days. Maybe we'll do a special show and have Maddie on. We'll talk about her book, but I gotta read it first. Also, good morning to let's see who else is here. Saint Fugi's here. How you doing? Black Hebrew Israelite.
You're a lion, dog face, pony shoulder.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
There we go. I hit they're too close together. D's, all the D's are really close together. Good morning, John Arnott. How you doing? Tyler F. What's up? Also, Jonas Pedersen. As I said, I got to be careful. Now they're right next to each other. Good morning also to, let's see, is that everybody? It could be everybody. I don't know. I mean, people roll in waves here. Good morning, James Crow. Good morning, Jesse Leon. And that's where we'll end for now. Also, please remind me if Thomas Cleaver shows up in the chat. Everyone say hi to Thomas Cleaver when he gets here so that I know that he's here. I feel so bad that I accidentally neglected saying hello to Thomas. So make sure we do that. All right. So like I said, the big breaking news of the weekend, which I don't know, the reason it's such a big deal, I suppose, one, because Rudy Giuliani is leading the charge on a lot of this, the questions about the election. I will call it questions about the election. And he's leading the charge, and I'm sure that all the people out there finding out that Judy could have COVID-19 were just cheering, the assholes on Twitter who do that kind of thing. Anyway, that's the big news. Rudy Giuliani test positive for COVID-19. Yes, President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, tested positive for the coronavirus. President Trump broke the news Sunday afternoon via Twitter. Referring to Giuliani as by far the greatest mayor in the history of New York City, Trump announced that the former mayor and crime fighter has tested positive for the China virus. Get better soon, Rudy. So there we go. This is the tweet. Rudy Giuliani, by far the greatest mayor in the history of New York City, who has been working tirelessly to exposing the most corrupt election by far in the history of the U.S., has tested positive for the China virus. Get China virus. Get better soon, Rudy. We will carry on. So, anyway, I don't know what that means as far as the team that's trying to take care of all these irregularities throughout the country. Well, not throughout the country. It's the one thing that the media says over and over. Well, first of all, there was no election fraud. Then there was no widespread election fraud. Then there was not enough election fraud to overcome the results. And they just keep qualifying it and qualifying it and qualifying it. Hey, a couple good mornings. Good morning, Katie did skate. Good morning, Special K on acid. Good morning, Funky Animal, the Earl of Funkdom, and so on and so forth. Did I got everybody? That's everyone who's popped in. Anyway, so how was everybody's weekend? My weekend, as I mentioned on Friday. Oh, good morning, Purple Pill Perspective, too. How did I miss you? There you are. I absolutely missed you there. I apologize. And also, good morning, Cynical Lindsay. As I mentioned, that would be Lady Boomer and I, had a dinner party on Saturday. And my gosh, was it great. And it was a small dinner party, COVID compliant. Well, maybe. I don't know how many households our governor allows in a place at a time. But, we were all related, so I didn't really care. I mean, sort of. And we're all related in a sense that all during the pandemic, our families have interacted. So I don't know if it's a big deal or not. Good morning, Stephanie. How you doing? Vitaly Brown. Welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you're here. Also, good morning, Cracked, Maniac Man, Zombie Teddy. Everyone's rolling in slowly, and I can't keep up. Anyway, so, my son's girlfriend, okay, sometime, hopefully future fiance, because we really like her. Her sister got engaged, and we were good friends with her family before my son started dating their daughter. Her sister got engaged a while back, and so we always said, oh, well, we'll have a small engagement dinner for you at our house, because we really are good friends with these people. And then so we had the sister and her fiance, and then her parents, who we're close friends with, and then my son and his hopefully soon to be future fiance. Okay. And so my wife, who is so incredibly creative, first of all, she decorates the entire house for Christmas already, which is great because that's what you do. And then it was an engagement party, but also our friend, the mom, she was retiring. And then also, it was also a couple of people's birthdays in November. So when you walked into our house, in the hallway, like we have a little hallway that you walk in the house that goes to the kitchen, or if you go to the right, you go to the living room, and then the dining room, right? So in the hallway, she had all these little like hanging wedding decorations kind of things for the future nuptials. Then she had in the kitchen, she had a happy birthday thing in there, and then in our dining room she had this happy retirement, and then she set 2 tables. I should show you the pictures. It was so, and then she did, oh my gosh, I've never seen our house look so cool. It looked like a damn banquet hall. It was beautiful, and we had lots of great advertising. And then because our friend, they were going to go to Europe for her retirement, but she couldn't because of the coof, right? The coof is kind of ruined those plans. So my wife comes up with this menu of all these things. She were going to go to, I think they were going to do like this tour of Norway, Sweden, and somewhere, Switzerland or something. So she goes and looks up recipes from all these countries, and we had like a 5-course meal of just different things from those countries. And it was really fun. It was a lot of work because I did a lot of cooking, but it was awesome. So anyway, it was really cool. Anyway, somebody else. Good morning, Richo. How you doing? Good morning, TC Ball. And I think I'm caught up now. So anyway, let's talk about some events over the weekend. First of all, there's an interesting happening going on. Let's stay with the election real quick, because this is still going on. And apparently, I don't want that. There is the Amistad Project, which is, I don't know why they call it the Amistad Project. This is an interesting article. Safe harbor deadline for electors not constitutional, does not apply to disputed states. So the Amistad Project, an election fraud the Amistad Project is an election fraud watchdog, released a white paper outlining how the December 8th electoral college deadline for the selection of electors does not apply to states with disputed election results. Sent you the, where is it? Let's see here. You sent it to me on Twitter. Thank you, Renee Mayad, because I do want to talk about that video too. It says it does not apply to states with disputed election results. Among the states with disputed election results, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, a total of 79 electoral college votes. The Amistad Project notes that the only deadline specifically required by the Constitution is noon on January 20th, when the president's term would end. All other deadlines, such as the safe harbor deadline of December 8th, the electoral college vote occurring on December 14th, the congressional count on January 6th, are set by federal law. Therefore, if federal law presents an obstacle to faithfully adhering to the constitutional requirements, it is necessary to disregard the statute in favor of the plain meaning of the Constitution. In other words, the only deadline the Constitution requires is for the election to be decided on or by January 20th. Moreover, these dates are arbitrary, being based on obsolete and outdated concerns, the group adds. To highlight the subjectivity of the electoral college deadlines, the white paper notes the historical changes of election-related dates. And then they go to a history here. In 1789, electors were appointed on the first Wednesday of January. Electors met on the first Wednesday in February, and the electoral vote was tabulated by a joint session of Congress on the first Wednesday of March. For over half a century, from 1792 to 1844, electors had to be appointed any time within the 34 days before the Wednesday in December, and the electors met and voted on the first week in December. For 139 years, in every election between 1792 and 1932, except for the 1876 election, the electoral vote was tabulated by Congress on the second Wednesday in February. For 44 years, between 1888 and 1832, the electors met and voted on the second Monday in January. Excuse me. So a single national day for appointing electors wasn't established until 1848. There's also a historical and legal precedent for delaying or changing election deadlines in the event of an unclear or questionable results or other circumstances. So anyway, this whole article kind of sets out the rationale for why a disputed election could take a little longer, and they wouldn't necessarily have to have the electoral college vote. I think they're just setting up the for continued shenanigans. Good morning, Gun Fox 61 in Chicago, Mike. I am so happy you're in the house. Let's go back to what I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Thank you, Renee Mayette, for sending this to me, by the way. So if you hadn't seen this video, let me see if I can pause this. This was why is it so fuzzy? Holy crap. Here, let's maybe it'll come clear it up as I turn it on. Well, maybe not. Let's see. I'm going to put this on the full screen here. So here's Joe Biden. If you haven't seen this video, this is fascinating. Listen very carefully to what Joe Biden said. Let me see if I can turn this up. I'm going to turn the music down for this one so you can hear it. Hopefully I can hear it. I have to turn my headphones up too. There we go. Now I can hear me. I can hear you. I can hear it all. Here's Joe Biden talking about, well, whatever Joe Biden rumbles out of his mouth.
Lady to be told me she holds them for you.
Yes, she does, but not with she and Kamala become friends.
That's really soft.
All kidding aside, it's a matter of the thing. We are simpatico on our philosophy of government and simpatico on how we want to approach these issues that we're facing.
But
and so I don't have, and when we disagree, it'll be just like so far. It's been just like when Barack and I did. it's in private. She'll say, I think we should do A, B, C, or D. And I'll say, I like A, don't like B and C. And it's go, okay. And like I told Barack, if I reach something where there's a fundamental disagreement we have based on a moral principle, I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
You can barely hear it. I'll find a copy that's a little better. But anyway, he's talking about if they have a disagreement, he'll develop like he's had an arrangement with Barack. I'll develop a disease and resign. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So apparently our, what do we call him again? Our projected president-elect. Gunfox, you're on Parlor now. Good for you. Okay, our projected president-elect had an agreement with Barack Obama that if they had any major disagreements, he would. Now let me use my words carefully here. Let me use my words carefully here. He would lie to the American people about having some kind of disease and step down. Yes, you got it, Katie. Katie, you were spot on. People are making way more of this than they should. He was speaking about his past agreement with Obama, saying he and Kamala had one similar. He just said it in his dementia-addled way. No, I'm very aware of that. Thank you for that clarification, Advocatus Diaboli. I agree with you 100%. He didn't say that he would do this in what did he say? He didn't say that he would he wasn't saying that necessarily that he would step down in this case, but the way he said it just, with all the other things, him talking about the Harris administration, or when Kamala Harris was talking about what they would do in a Harris administration. Oops, I mean a Biden Harris administration, and just all the little gaffes that they had about this. There were a whole bunch of them, and this one just kind of fits the mold and makes people think, hey, is this guy going to make it through more than 2 years that are required to allow Kamala to run 2 more times? Because that's why the DNCs wanted. The DNC wanted Kamala Harris from the very beginning, and they did not get what she wants because she had zero traction amongst the Democratic primary process voters. And so it's always to me been looking like, look, they're going to get someone who could get elected in there and make sure that he made Kamala Harris the vice president so that when he steps down sometime during that first term, they have the first woman, black, Indian, and whatever else things they could throw in there, Jamaican former slave owner president. Well, wait, we've had former slave owner family presidents. Anyway, so I just find it, just that whole thing, that him having another gaffe of that sort, very entertaining. Let's just put it, I'll put it in the entertaining arena. Good morning, Robert Lapine. Good morning, Gamer Valine. It's like a Muhammad Ali section of the show. Good morning, Hypnagogic Monk. And I'm sure there's others that I haven't said hello to yet. Things that make you go, yes, correct, Hypnagogic Monk. Why don't these assholes do their job rather than trying how to break the system and be first on whatever they convert you single? Well, that's a good question. Good morning. Check your logic. I'm just saying, not the first slave. No. Check your logic. She never owned slaves, but her family did. I gotta imagine that somebody's family along the way also did. But just there's so many things. Oh, and here's a funny one. Speaking of Joe Biden, where is this? Like I said, I'm not exactly. Speaking of Joe Biden and things he says that maybe aren't quite true. good. Thank you. By the way, I got to turn the music back up here. Thank you, Chicago Mike, the first donation of the day, and it is through YouTube Super Chats. By the way, I finally got paid from YouTube for the first time today, well, it was sometime over this weekend. I don't know when it came in, but I looked at my bank account. I'm like, oh, I got a YouTube payment. I was shocked. It's been 3 months, probably because I couldn't figure out their system, and I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. Anyway, thank you, Chicago Mike, with the big 5 spot in the YouTube Super Chats, who says, when will we have a President Kamala Harris? Any bets? Well, family, let's take some bets here. For those of you in the chat today, that will be our question of the day. How long before... Okay, let me put a big old caveat on this. Let's say that the president is completely unsuccessful at changing the results of the election, which I'm at 50-50 right now. Here's the question of the day. When will Kamala Harris become president? Because I'm thinking that most of us assume somewhere in Joe Biden's first term. And there are hints that he's having issues already, chasing his dog and breaking his foot, although it seems like his foot seemed fine the other day because they have video of him walking around in his non-boot shoes. But anyway, I thought, a lot of you saying 2 years so that she could have 10 years. I thought so. Gunfox within 6 months. Howard Welsh, how you doing? Within 2 years. Day 101, says Duck Dog, 6 months. Arnott. January 20th, 2021. Hello, hard disk fail. Now that's interesting. You know, here's what I was thinking. I'm kind of on the hard disk fail bandwagon here. I thought for sure. Good morning, Cindy Bishop. Of what organization? Not the USA. Well, you know, look, we're playing hypotheticals, okay? We're playing hypotheticals that Joe Biden, yes, I see the Streamlabs. I got you, Gunfox. I'm getting that next. I'm thinking that he doesn't make it to Inauguration Day. That was my thought of the plan. Let's see. That's even if Biden wins, the lawsuits are so far in favor of Trump, sir. I think we're starting to see the lawsuit, especially for example, Dominion recently, is it Pennsylvania, where they've finally got the court to allow for a forensic examination of the voting machines by Dominion in certain areas. The stuff down in Georgia seems to be taking a turn. Interestingly, in Nevada, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the legislature with all the things we talked about on Friday, all the different anomalies in the Nevada election that they're starting to look at, and possibly in Arizona too. All right, real quick, let me do my Streamlabs here. And by the way, thank you, Gunfox61, and you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. Thank you, Gunfox, for the $2 through Streamlabs. Today marks the 79th anniversary. Is it 79th or 75th? I can't remember. Is it 79? What's it? 41? Yeah, 79th. Today is the 79th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. USS Arizona and USS Utah still rest at the bottom of the harbor with their crews. 2,355 U.S. military members and 69 civilians were killed in the attack, bringing the U.S. into World War II. Yes, that was the day that'll live in infamy. I'm going to finish with something about that at the end of the show today. And thank you, Gunfox61. It's a solemn day in American history. Thank you so much. All right. Back to Joe Biden. This was kind of humorous because someone named Cassie Hunt, I think she works for MSNBC. And this was just hilarious. This is from Newsbusters. Cassie Hunt mocked for claiming Biden doesn't lie after he stonewalled a question. Note to MSNBC, Cassie Hunt, Casey, perhaps you might want to check your own tweets for self-contradictions before you post them. Such was the case on Friday when Hunt foolishly tweeted that Joe Biden stonewalled on a question about if he had talked to Mitch McConnell, and in the very next sentence praised Biden for his honesty. The inevitable smackdown was both brutal and as well as hilarious. Among the most cutting of the responses came from Glenn Greenwald, who pointed out just how honest Biden really is. So Casey Hunt said Joe Biden wouldn't say if he's talked to Mitch McConnell. I'm just struck by the reality that we'll now have a president who, as a rule, doesn't lie. Sapphire Dragon, that's it. That's very funny. C Hunt. Okay, anyway, so Grant Greenwald says, well, aside from the fact that Biden has a long history of pathologically lying, from claiming he marched with Mandela to having to drop out of his first presidential race for serial lying about his background, it's bizarre to see journalists being grateful for being stonewalled. Thank you so much for refusing to answer my questions and provide even the most minimally transparency about whether you spoke to the Senate Majority Leader. It's so refreshing to be treated that way, Mr. Biden. Oh, Joe Biden.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Dilbert creator Scott Adams also weighed in on how this is yet another example of the fraudulence in media. Is it fraudulence or flatulence? It's verbal flatulence, if you ask me. Who said, it's just comedy at this point, watching the media to pretend to be legitimate. Also, Lindsey Field, he didn't answer the question, and you're slobbering over him like a golden retriever, and then you're not a journalist. Here's the clip, though. Now, you know what's really, I believe, absolute media malpractice in this last election? Because do you at any time remember the media talking anything? Oh, Gunfox, thank you for dropping in real quick, and thank you for that. Well, you'll have to watch the end of the show because I have a neat little video about Pearl Harbor that I want everyone to see. Good morning, Ebony Williams, also, and also Ex Bubba Hotep, Uncle Bad Touch, aka Joe Biden, and
Come on, man.
Yes, that's what I said. Okay, good morning, everybody. So anyway, what's amazing to me is during the entire election, did anyone in the media, and I mean anyone, even including that supposed sycophant network called Fox News, spend any time on Joe Biden's past relationship? And it was a brutal relationship with the truth. Because you would think that at some point, and I can't believe, good morning, Duck Dog, I can't believe that, I wish the president would have brought this out, but you know, the media likes to talk about the president lying, so maybe he didn't want to highlight something that the media just wants to beat him up on. But you would think that somebody would have talked about Joe Biden's very nefarious and whatever relationship with the truth. Hello, Shimu, how you doing? So here's a clip from the Wayback Machine, we'll call it. Listen to this clip. I'll turn down the music again one more time because you got to hear this. Oh, it's in a tweet, so let me make sure I get this out here. And
From taped remarks of Biden
why?
During an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
Why are these so soft? Hang on a second. There's something wrong here. Oh, I know what it is. That's why. Okay, here we go. This will fix it. You'll be able to hear it now, and hopefully it won't blast your ears out. We'll go full screen on this, too. Let's do that. All right, here's the report from Sam Donaldson.
Explaining to do. The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and, in fact, ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
I love this clip so much. Good morning. This is Kyle. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Oh, wait. Did these come up? What did these come up? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a couple here. Oh, that's why I can't hear my desktop. No wonder. First of all, let me catch up on a couple super chats here. Thank you, Chicago Mike, with the $4.99 through Streamlabs, and Chicago Mike, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. Who says scariest words? Vice President Nancy Pelosi. Oh, God. You know what? I have a new question of the day now. Thanks for bringing that up, Chicago Mike, and I wish you wouldn't have, because that is frightening. Listen, let me give you a new question. This is going to be a tough one, and I want you to be, do I want real answers or do I want creative answers? You know what? I'm going to give you a choice. You can give me a real answer to this question, or you can give me a creative answer to this question. I'll turn my music back up. When, in this hypothetical that we've been using already of Kamala Harris becoming the president of the United States, hello, Uncle Bobbity, when Kamala Harris ascends to the president of the United States, who will she choose as her vice president? Because it won't automatically be Nancy Pelosi. That's only if for some reason the president and the vice president are removed, or well, you know what I mean. If they're both removed from office, yes, the Speaker of the House is third in line, right? So if there's a big if something happens at a rally that all of a sudden there's no longer a president, vice president, the Speaker of the House becomes the president. But who would Kamala Harris's vice president be? Oh, Hillary Clinton? Ooh, AOC. Oh, gosh, I should have never asked this question. Hillary Clinton, AOC, Walt Disney's cryogenically frozen head. Ooh, Stacey Abrams. Oh, no. Because she wants to get reelected. We should ban. Okay. AOC's too young, but that would be more shenanigans. Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Okay, I can give you a good reason immediately why it will not be Hillary Clinton. because Kamala wants to live. It's not going to be Hillary Clinton. And it's not going to be AOC because she can't. Stacey Abrams, ooh. Pelosi, ooh. Greta Van Iceberg.
How dare you?
John McCain, Dead Voting Lives Matter. Willie Brown. Oh, one of my favorite jokes is Jericho Green always describes Kamala Harris as the person who got horizontal to make her career go vertical. Bernie Sanders, ooh, I don't think so. I think, no, because Kamala is a Democratic establishment person. So there would never be someone like Bernie Sanders. I don't think. Kamala is not suicidal. She's not going to pick Hillary Clinton. Elizabeth Warren, possibly. Alyssa Milano. Oh, yes. Harris is not sad. Oh boy. Anyway, let's watch the rest of this video here of Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a history of lying. In fact, well, let's see how this report finishes.
This week says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Cory Booker, maybe.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse.
Wait a minute. Didn't Joe say he graduated at the top of his class? 76 out of what? 76 out of how many?
Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this Syracuse Law 85 at the Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University.
76th out of a class of 85. Amy Klobuchar, maybe. I could see that. Tulsi, no, not a chance. Chris Wallace. The way things are going.
Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
All right, so anyway, let me get to a couple more Streamlabs here that I haven't got to yet. Thank you, Purple Pill Perspective. Oh, a new sponsor to the show. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our new sponsor. Does your dog deke you so hard? Does your dog deke you so hard you literally break your ankles? No worries. With Joe Biden's magical healing boot, you'll be back on your feet in no time. I'll tell you what, it's better than Batacalf Care, and Corn Pop is really a bad dude. Thank you so much, Purple Pill's Perspective. And we give you that there. And then finally, thank you also. This is Kyle for the $2 via YouTube Super Chat, who says, hello, chat people and PDawg. Well, hello to you too. This is Kyle. I'm so glad you're here. I'm just trying to get caught up on my my brain thing here going right now, because I got a little, I got discombobulated of the sponsor because maybe I read that wrong. Better than Batacalf Care, and Corn Pop is a really bad dude. Well, Corn Pop is definitely a bad dude. So anyway, all right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Here's the other part too. So Joe Biden, 76th in a class of 85 at Syracuse Law School, right? Then, and it pains me to tell you this part. They went back and were looking at some of Joe Biden's papers in his law school, and I'm surprised they didn't just take away his degree. He plagiarized a whole bunch of papers in law school too. He has a incredible history of plagiarism, as well as lying about his credentials. Remember, part of the reason he got out of that race too is they caught him plagiarizing speeches, one from a British politician and one was from Robert Kennedy. I mean, how, you don't think people are going to notice that you plagiarized a speech from Robert Kennedy? Good Lord. Anyway, let's see some more things in the chat here. PDawg, Ruth Bader Ginsburg will be the next president. If you can vote when you're dead, you can surely be president when you're dead. Yes, that's true. Joe could have a signature series kitchen table, maybe with a cold dust patina. There has to be a furniture company he could partner with. Harris's VP pick equals Andrew Yang. You know what? I could almost see that. He will spray whipped cream into the mouths of kneeling men. Are you sure that's whipped cream? Anyway, a welcome sight for Kamala, since she's always been on the other end of that rodeo. Oh, yes, Uncle Bobbity. Creativity abounds. Also, if Biden is president, they need to change the Redskins to the Corn Pops. Maniac, man. Can I mention something regarding to that boot thing? My mother broke her ankle a few months back. She walked around with the boot as well. Yeah, no, I know, and you'd have it for a while though. I mean, it wouldn't be like 2 days and then the boot's gone. Although they said it was a hairline fracture, so maybe it wasn't. I don't know. He's old. You'd think he'd have it for a while. The Washington Corn Pops. Oh boy. Oh. The only thing to look forward in a Biden administration, we may finally lean learn what Batacalf care and true Shava Depressa is. Yeah, I forgot about that Batacalf thing. All right. Shall we do some more news, or should we just joke around in the chat today? Which you know what? I honestly could do just about either. Now, let's see. Let's go into the let's see, how about this? Here's one from Scott Powell at the American Thinker. You know me. If I find something interesting, I look at it. The American Thinker's kind of been my jam lately. What the hell's going on with my screen here, though? Let's fix this real quick. All right. And this is regarding the Supreme Court. Why did that move? God damn it. Oh, because the whole thing moved. Okay, hang on. Fix this so you guys can see what I'm reading here. From the American Thinker, the Supreme Court and the electoral coup. It's out in the open with everyone's eyes and ears, not only here in the United States, but around the world. The November U.S. presidential election produced a fraudulent result, appearing to deliver a defeat for extraordinarily popular and remarkably successful incumbent President Donald Trump, and a victory for extraordinarily unimpressive Democratic challenger Joe Biden. Trump drew crowds of 35 to 40,000 and more at every rally. Biden couldn't attract more than a few dozen at his public meetings, none of which could be called rallies. Biden's handlers decided on a basement strategy early on, recognizing that a discharged and failing battery was no match for the orange Energizer Bunny. Additionally, why take the risk of gaffes in public appearances when you know that the fix is in with upcoming multi-level vote fraud? First, a refresher and some background. Donald Trump was elected president in 2016 as an outsider, the candidate whose Make America Great Again platform, including draining the swamp and taking on corruption in Washington. With mixed results, I'll admit. But I think, he was doing what he wanted to do. Prior presidents had generally accommodated Washington corruption, and it naturally grew over time. A major contributing factor that compelled Trump to run was that under the Obama administration, corruption became egregious. Oh, wait a minute. But there were no... weren't there? I thought there were no scandals in the Obama administration. Oh, gosh, I could list them all. First Amendment rights were violated in new ways, with surveillance conducted on selected media reporters who criticized Obama, and with muzzling of some 160 patriotic conservative groups by Lois Lerner in her position as the director of exempt organizations unit of the Internal Revenue Service. Then there was the outrageous saga of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her husband and ex-President Bill, who played tag team in shaking down foreign governments for nearly $1 billion, with a B, dollars, which got shoveled into the Clinton Foundation. All the while, Secretary Clinton flagrantly violated U.S. Code 1924 that prohibits private storing of classified information and confidential state matters, which she circumvented by the use of an unsecured private server and email system. That was obviously implemented to cover up her conflicts of interest while serving as secretary. And then there was Obama's achievements. The Iran nuclear deal was consummated with the payment of $1.7 billion to the ruling mullahs in Iran, which the Senate wouldn't have ratified were it a treaty rather than a back-channel deal. Obama's crowning achievement, crime, that led us to today's vote fraud dilemma was his oversight and approval of massive clandestine surveillance on Trump, his family, and his entire campaign staff by way of an earlier fraud, the illicitly obtained FISA warrants to authorize surveillance that were undertaken to facilitate an impeachment coup. Because Trump was an outsider committed to fighting corruption and charging Washington's ways, multiple coup plots against him were contemplated even before he was inaugurated, taking down General Michael Flynn was just the beginning of the siege of President Donald Trump by the deep state, instigated by the FBI Director James Comey. Flynn's takedown was immediately followed by 2 years of the Mueller Commission investigation into Trump's alleged ties to and collusion with, Russia. Sorry. Wait a minute. Hang on. It also gets a... I just had to do that. Now I lost my place. Russia. Try as they might, no substantive evidence could be found. Then the baton was passed to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who commenced impeachment hearings. That too failed for lack of evidence. Since there were no penalties from the previous coup efforts based on fraudulently obtained FISA warrants, it's only natural that the deep state and Democratic Party operatives, that's redundant, were emboldened to make a third attempt by seizing on the coronavirus crisis to continue the coup effort in Trump's fourth year. This time by putting the fix on the November 2020 presidential election. I'll say the word allegedly just to make YouTube happy, but they haven't really been paying attention to me, which I'm just fine with. They took advantage of the lockdowns and public fear and pushed specific actions to game the system to increase their delivery of votes leading up to Election Day. First, they legitimized the wholesale distribution of ballots and mail-in balloting, and then they blanketed swing states with armies of lawyers filing suits to challenge voter ID laws, signature verification laws, and extending deadlines for mail-in ballots. Changing the rules in these ways in key swing states created ambiguities that contributed to voting irregularities, such as overvoting, ballot harvesting, filing fraudulent ballots from dead people. I see dead people. Still on the voter rolls, ballot dumps, and other fraud and poll place shenanigans. And then there was the use of Dominion voting machines and software technology that were implemented in various jurisdictions in all swing states, as well as 18 others. Dominion Vice President of U.S. Engineering Eric Coomer is on record acknowledging the programmability of Dominion voting technology to fix votes, saying, quote, "Don't worry about the election. Trump's not going to win. I made fucking sure of that." Thank you, Johnny Hellcat, with the YouTube Super Chat, who says, swinging by to say hi, can't stay between jobs. Well, Johnny, be diligent and be safe. That's all I can say to you, brother. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Everyone say hi to Johnny Hellcat, the original viewer of the Morning Night Live. Common sense, long-standing predictable voting behavior patterns in many specific jurisdictions, big data statistical pattern analysis, and forensic analysis of Dominion voting system machines and software and polling place wrongdoings in the contested states don't just reveal garden variety voting irregularities, but rather overwhelming, massive voter and polling place fraud. People who think Trump is hated for his loud braggadocio persona and style don't get it. Well, let me see how they finish this paragraph. Trump was targeted from the beginning because he threatened the deep state, which includes a self-serving corporate elite, their Washington lobbyists, the international establishment in and out of government, the one-sided politically corrupt media, as well as a myriad of unaccountable agencies that include the FBI, CIA, FEMA, to name only a few powerful bureaucracies that now operate with almost no constitutional constraints. Donald Trump was uniquely prepared and chosen for such a time as this, seen in the context of historical America. The speed at which the demise of constitutional law and rule in America was advanced during the Bush and the Obama administrations is startling. And today it's quite obvious for the Supreme Court justices and all Americans to see that we are in the last stage of the takedown and final usurpation of the Constitution of the United States. With distrust, division, and corruptness being so prevalent in the big cities and lower courts, many of the contested states, as to nullify the seriousness of over 400 affidavits documenting vote fraud and polling place irregularities, documenting that there were more votes that cast than registered voters in quite a number of jurisdictions, and overwhelming evidence of massive computer-driven vote manipulation associated with key states' use of Dominion voting systems and pay-to-play corruption at the highest level of the Republican Party-led Georgia government to contract with Dominion to use their voting machines. The Supreme Court is compelled to adjudicate. The American people cannot allow fraudulent election results or even the appearance of such to stand. It undermines the Constitution and demoralizes the citizenry. When people lose confidence in the integrity of elections, their respect for government is eroded and their willingness to comply with the laws it legislates is undermined. Wow, I don't know where you can see an example of that. Oh, could it be in all the cities where the riots have been going on for months and months and months? And if the government is eroded and their willingness to comply with laws, because what is that, defund the police movement and all that shit, and then there's just, anyway, that's a whole, I mean, it's an offshoot of what they just said there, right? Democrats and some establishment Republicans may want to pursue the easier course of denial and ignore the facts of massive voter fraud because it delivers their desired result and or it protects their crimes, but the world is watching to see what we do as a nation. Allowing proven election and vote fraud to stand would irreparably damage the nation's moral authority and regulate the United States to the status of banana republics and communist regimes. And with that status would come even more corruption, cynicism, and even the collapse of the U.S. currency. The U.S. dollar is backed by nothing except the full faith and credit of the United States. If that faith and trust deteriorates, so does the nation's currency. No one wants to talk about it, but the U.S. financial balance sheet is now in its weakest condition in the last 200 years. Between 1960 and 2000, the total national debt to GDP ratio averages between 35 to 55%. By 2010, debt to GDP rose to 90%. With the $3.5 trillion COVID pandemic bailout stimulus, total national debt is now nearly $27.5 trillion, and the U.S. debt to GDP stands at 128%, a ranking share with countries like Mozambique and Eritrea. For those with crucial thinking faculties and a knowledge of history, there can be little doubt that this extraordinary, energetic leader, Donald Trump, is what is needed for times such as this. With America facing the most insurmountable challenges and unfinished business, a decisive majority of Americans voted for his re-election because they sensed that a return to a corrupt establishment government was simply not an acceptable option. The Supreme Court needs to do its job of adjudication and protect and save the Constitution at this crucial time. That was written by Scott Powell, a senior fellow at the Discovery Institute and founder of Remington Rand LLC, a law partner search firm. His information will be in that article will be in my list of articles that will be in the chat box down below. Thomas Cleaver, good morning, sir, and I apologize to you on Friday. I did not mean to neglect you. Was it Thursday? It must have been Thursday, and just want to make sure I know that you were here. That was just a very slight oversight, unintended. Also, good morning to Low Rider. Goes a little slower. Do 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 do. Anyway, all right. I liked that article, so I read the whole damn thing because sometimes I don't do that. So anyway. What else we got here? Let's go into something completely different. Yes, there's all kinds of articles I have about Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Well, here, hang on a second. Let's talk about this fraud video in Georgia because this is, and of course, it's one of my favorite sources again, back to the American Thinker. But the Democrats' defense of this fraud thing in the video in Georgia doesn't hold water, and this is a great explanation why. Gosh, Mr. Cleaver, that's a wonderful sweater. Yes, it is. No, I thought though, Thomas Cleaver, I knew you weren't all that serious, but I saw that throw up face. I'm like, damn, FTG PDawg. I'm like, damn, dog, what are you doing? Anyway, so that, remember the video we watched Friday? The Georgia's, they're pulling all the cases out of under the table after all the media leaves and all the counters leave and shit. So, well, they tried to defend that, right? Well, Democrats' defense of Georgia election fraud video doesn't hold water. Immediately after the story broke about the video showing workers at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta counting ballots after poll observers had apparently been asked to leave, a purported news site sprang into action to fact check. You know the fact checks work. The report. While the fact check gave room to Democratic operatives to cover their asses, they say derrieres, but I just say what it really means, asses. The counter narrative was ludicrous. Additionally, new evidence about vote spikes and two of the vote counters behaving suspiciously gave even more credence to Republicans' take on their surveillance video. The video that galvanized so many people showed a large room in which poll observers were completely cordoned off from any meaningful observation. Shortly before 10 p.m., one of the poll workers, a black woman with eye-catching long blonde braids, approaching the observers, and not long after that, with apparent reluctance, the observers filed away, vacating the room a little before 11 p.m. At 11 p.m., the room ostensibly shut down and the observers gone. The remaining poll workers suddenly sprang into action, dragging rolling, I won't say suitcases, well, I'll say, people called them suitcases, that's how we'll do. Dragging rolling suitcases out from under the table. They took ballots out of those suitcases and spent the next 2 hours scanning them at a rate of about 3,000 per hour, which is the, let's see, 3,000 ballots per hour per scanner. In fact, is this the video? Well, anyway, we saw the video then. By Friday, a site called Lead Stories had its fact checked ready. Aw, how sweet.
Your life makes me sad.
These are its contentions. One, here's what they say about that video. One, nobody told observers to leave. They voluntarily traipsed after workers and could have returned whenever they wanted. I'm sure that's it. Two, what the Republican called suitcases were in fact empty regular ballot containers that were placed under the table to save floor space. Three, the ballots inside had already been removed from their envelopes and processed while observers were present. Only one of those points that holds water is the contention that the ballots were in ballot containers, not suitcases. Everything else is factually or logically wrong. First, the poll watchers who left stated that workers had been told to leave, and indeed you can see the woman with blonde braids talking to them. It makes sense that the observers wouldn't have left without being told that everything was shutting down. Trump supporters were deeply suspicious of events and would never have walked away from watching. Second, even assuming that people had watched the ballots getting removed from their envelopes, that's not a reason for them to be disinterested in watching the votes getting counted. For example, they might have witnessed the woman in the purple shirt repeatedly running the same batch of ballots through the tabulator. Third, the shutdown theater makes no sense. If the counting was proceeding as before, why in the world engage in that shutdown theater, which effectively drove the poll watchers out, only to spring into frantic, completely unsupervised action for the next 2 hours? Wait a minute. This should say fourth. Even as those poll workers were busily scanning in ballots without oversight, Biden received a mathematically impossible spike in vote counts. So this is right here. See this big spike right there? There's his spike. This, and they get a spike in vote counts during that time. Fifth, according to Bernard Carrick, a former New York City police commissioner, that spike is a mathematical impossibility, a claim that makes sense just by looking at the chart. It isn't surprising that the so-called fact check was wrong. Lead Stories is a partisan Democratic site, staffed almost entirely by Democratic donors, half of whom had worked for CNN. This is CNN. in the past. It is also one of Facebook's alleged nonpartisan fact checkers. Oh, isn't that special? And they may have noted a function. As many have noted, function on a completely partisan basis. Oh my gosh, fact checkers being partisans? I can't imagine. I thought they were just checking facts. There's another video of two of the women from the secret vote count, the gal in the purple shirt and the one with the blonde braids, and it appears that purple shirt is passing something covertly to blonde braids. Many people have speculated that what's being passed is a USB. Here's the, I don't know if you've seen, I didn't play this video Friday. This is one I was looking for. Let's do, we'll watch this a couple times because, look, so here we are. Here's blonde braid lady. And I don't know who this person is. There's someone over here. So watch this. She cups whatever's in her hand and very discreetly, look, like she's hiding in her hand. Oh, now this is like some mafia shit right here. So she got that in her hand, right? Now watch. She's got it hidden in her hand. Look, they're watching it in her hand. And she's, wait, where did she pass that off to? We're going to have to watch this again because I don't know where she got rid of it. Oh. Looks like she put it in someone's pocket. Now look, watch it again. Here she goes. Here she is. There she goes. She got a cup and whatever that is. And it's in her hand. She's hiding some shit right there. What is she doing? It's like they're taking that's going away, whatever it is. I don't know. Oh, we're hiding it. We just passed it off. Okay. Anyway. So, we'll stop that video. The facts remain clear. Poll observers testified they were deliberately cleared out, at which point workers, including two who had behaved suspiciously earlier, scanned ballots like crazy, with that scanning coinciding with an impossibly huge spike in counts that favored Joe Biden. No wonder Governor Kemp suddenly called for a signature audit. Finally! It's about damn time. Even though he knew no one would believe the purported facts explaining the video. Sadly, despite all this evidence of illegal conduct, Fulton County still certified its results. That's what happens when the Fox is in charge with certifying the hen house. So there you go. I'm gonna make sure I have time for this last video that we're gonna watch together. So yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? Mark election results completely inconsistent with data surrounding election. There are so many. There's just so many irregularities. Here's an interesting thing. From the Washington Free Beacon. As soon as I can get this on the screen, there we go. Felon enfranchisement, national election overhaul, top priority bill if Dems retake the Senate. So here's the one thing that the Democrats want to do. Now here I'm going to have a caveat. My opinion on felon voting rights. I think that I think convicted felons, perhaps once you serve your time, I don't think you should necessarily lose your vote forever. But while you're incarcerated and while you have not completed the sentence, so for example, if you're incarcerated as a felon and until your parole ends, I don't think you should be able to vote. Or if you are specific types of felonies, like I would say obviously treason would be one where you would lose your vote forever. But I don't think felons should be able to vote. Democrats want felons in prison to be able to vote. Bernie Sanders thinks that Charles Manson should be able to vote. I mean, I don't think so. Anyway, felon enfranchisement, national election overhaul is a top priority bill if Democrats retake the Senate. A Democratic victory in Georgia would lead to the passage of a constitutionally questionable plan. Federal Democrats have put an overhaul of American voting front and center on their agenda if they attain unified government, with a ready-to-go proposal that could give them durable advantage in future elections. The party passed legislation aimed at dramatic changes to the American electoral system after it reclaimed the House in 2018. That bill, H.R. 1, was taken as a sign of their main priorities if Democrats retook the White House and the Senate, control of which now comes down to two still undecided races in Georgia. Projected President-elect Joe Biden has indicated that he would sign the bill, the For the People Act. Don't they give these bills such pretty names? The For the People Act. Oh, I wish I had a here. Because it's not really for the people. Anyway, which Democrats and their allies have presented as an antidote to a hopelessly corrupt and unfair electoral system. Yeah, they don't like the Electoral College. They just don't. They don't think that people in those smaller states should have representation because they're not Democrats. Anyway, the bill would address Democrats' concern via the breathtaking attempt at federal control of the nation's elections. Cato Institute Constitutional Studies Director Ilya Shapiro told the Washington Free Beacon, many components of which are constitutionally dubious. Provisions of the bill have even raised the hackles of the American Civil Liberties Union, normally a staunch ally of congressional Democrats. It would also take a number of dramatic and controversial steps, including extending voting rights to millions of currently disenfranchised felons and overhauling the Federal Election Commission to ensure partisan control. Democrats have framed those changes and others as necessary to democracy, but they would also likely give the party a leg up in future elections. Such interests likely undergird Democrats' agitation about the possibility of seizing Congress's upper chamber in the January Georgia runoff. Those races have seen unprecedented interest from Democratic politicians and donors, including prominent members of the party's left wing like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar. Oh, I got to get to Ilhan Omar too. I have a little story about her. Where is that? Do I have that still? Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm gonna finish with two things: her and Pearl Harbor, which are kind of in some ways they're the same thing. Anyway, all right. Running over 700 pages. They'll have to pass it so you can see what's in it. The For the People Act contains provisions relating to almost every feature of the way America chooses its leaders. The overall approach, Shapiro said, is to strip states of their long-standing responsibility as electoral gatekeepers by imposing one-size-fits-all rules, withdrawing discretion on issues like the shape of congressional districts or the composition of voter rolls. Much of that focus is on increasing total voter registration, including through a mandatory nationwide automatic voter registration at the DMV and pre-registration of 16-year-olds. The bill would also federally guarantee released felons the immediate right to vote, invalidating laws in 33 states that impose restrictions of any sort on those just out of jail. And it would prohibit the practice of confirming that voters are residents at their current addresses and removing them if they're not, called voter caging, an election integrity measure that Democrats charge unduly disenfranchises voters. You gotta have their current address, don't you think? Such measures would have added effect of boosting turnout, particularly among young people and the disproportionately minority felon population. Increasing turnout in general is thought to be a boon to Democrats, although this claim is disputed. Most recently, record turnout helped President Donald Trump win again in red states like Texas and helped hand a wave of House seats to Republicans. H.R. 1 also contains an exhaustive list of ethics reforms, many motivated by Democrats' criticism of the Trump White House, but which could also benefit them. A provision of the bill would cut the Federal Election Commission to 5 members, 2 from each party and 1 independent. But that independent, Shapiro noted, could be someone like Senator Bernie Sanders. and the incoming Democratic administration could effectively seize control of the commission for 6 years starting in 2022. Basically, they're trying to put some weight on the scale. I'm not going to read the rest, but they're just trying so hard to put weight on the scale. Thank you, ex-Bubba Hotep, with a devil's donation. And ex-Bubba Hotep, I believe
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
Thank you, ex-Bubba Hotep, who says, so I'm going to bed after reading the Twitter thread of Kaylee McEnany posting her dancing with her baby. What should have been an awe moment was filled with such vitriol in the comments. I'm honestly pissed, so I have to go. I haven't seen that yet. Oh gosh. Well, even at that and Rudy Giuliani, people just cheering the fact that he has COVID. People are sick. I'm sorry, and I wish if I could say that. I don't know that people on the right are as bad with that. I know there's people out there. There's assholes from every aspect of American political life, but the vitriol of these people, the hate. There's for people who always talk about hate speech, you're a hate mongers, you're this and you're that, and you're this phobia and that phobia and that phobia. They are so completely filled with hate and rage. They always say the right's filled with rage. No, the left is filled completely, utterly with hate and constant rage. And especially for anything related to Trump. It is truly derangement, in my opinion. All right, two last things. We're going to finish with, first, one of the congressmen from my great state, yes, Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, has some issues, as we already know, but these issues are a little more interesting. So apparently, a firm co-owned by Omar's husband got $635,000 in COVID-19 loans, while also scoring millions from campaign donations. Made $4 million in 2020. That's the update. Now that's keeping it in the family. Ilhan Omar's 2020 campaign paid the firm co-owned by her husband, Tim Minett, over $2.7 million for services rendered. Damn. Allowing the couple to keep a significant part of the $5.7 million they raised for her reelection. The E Street Group LLC was by far the biggest recipient of Omar's campaign, accounting for half of all disbursements. The second-ranking recipient was the State Democratic Party, also known as the DFL here in Minnesota, with just over $400,000. At the same time, the E Street Group and Minett Omar scored big incomes with the campaign. They also scored big on COVID-19 relief, according to Fox News. Public records show that E Street Group, co-owned by Omar's husband, Tim Minett, received nearly $135,000 in Paycheck Protection Program loans and $500,000 in economic injury disaster loans. Public records show that E Street Group, co-owned by Omar's husband, Tim Minett, oh, that's the same sentence twice. Gosh, editors. Federal Election Commission filings also show that the firm received payments for other campaigns, including $175,000 from the Committee of Representative Pramila Jayapal from Washington and nearly $130,000 from Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. In what world was E Street Group LLC in need of taxpayer support? Why did a member of Congress who personally benefited from campaign donations through E Street Group allow her husband's firm to get access to $635,000 in subsidized relief loans in the first place? One might think this kind of grift should get the attention of the House Ethics Committee at some point. If not federal prosecutors. One has to wonder whether Omar knew this was coming out. The Daily Wire recalls that Omar suddenly announced that she would cut ties with E Street Group a fortnight after the election. In mid-November, Omar cut ties with her husband's firm after she won re-election in Minnesota's 5th congressional district, saying she wanted to make sure that anybody who's supporting our campaign with their time or financial support feels there is no perceived issue with that support. The Star Tribune reported. Every dollar that was spent went to a team of more than 20 that were helping us fight back against attacks and organize on the ground and online in a COVID-19 world, she added. And Tim, beyond his salary at the firm, received no profit whatsoever from the consulting relationship the firm provided. Give me a break! Oh my gosh! Nice, yeah! Jesus, are you kidding me? Oh, here's an update. I'm gonna skip down to the update here, though. Just what economic injury did E Street Group LLC suffer in 2020? They made $4 million in this cycle, according to Open Secrets. They only made $145,000 in 2018, the first cycle of their operation. The amount of their COVID relief loans was 4 times their entire income of the 2018 cycle. Where is the injury? That article will definitely be in the tabs today. Oh my God. Oh my God. The grift is Merry Griftmas to Ilhan Omar. I've laughed at the grift that keeps on grifting. Yes. Have yourself a merry little griftmas. Let the dollars roll in. From now on, she'll be taking it on the chin and chest. And have yourself a merry little griftmas. With the white guy, which is her new husband. Wow, did I actually put that song together? Thank you very much. I wrote that myself.
China is asshole.
Oh, whoops, wrong one. Yes, thank you very much. I'll be here all week and every week. All right, let's finish up with something a little more solemn. Just a little newsreel that I pulled from YouTube. Based on about Pearl Harbor Day, because it is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, and so I thought I'd bring up I found a YouTube video. I don't know. I might get copyrighted for this. I don't know. I don't care, because I think it's worth watching. So this is some original Pearl Harbor news footage from the Atlantic. By the way, 2 years ago, the oldest crew member from Pearl Harbor died at 106 years old just 2 years ago. Can you sample that special can acid? Well, I suppose. Who am I to stop you? I just think my taking it on the chin line probably shouldn't have been in the song. But, maybe people won't think of innuendo when they hear that line. Anyway, this is, so I just wanted to finish today with some original Pearl Harbor footage. This is a 6-minute video from the Atlantic. They posted it a few years ago. And so we're going to watch this together. And I don't think I'm going to do any commentary. So here we go. Let's go ahead and hit that.
Your commentator is Joe O'Brien. Here is the motion picture record released by the United States Navy of the havoc wrought by the Japs' sneak sky and sea raid on Pearl Harbor, America's mid-Pacific naval bastion.
Note the
racist language.
On December 7th, 1941, Japan, like its infamous Axis partners, struck first and declared war afterwards. Costly to our Navy was the loss of war vessels, airplanes, and equipment, but more costly to Japan was the effectiveness of its foul attack in immediately unifying America in its determination to fight and win the war thrust upon it, and to win the peace that will follow. The Japs copied their German masters in striking hard at airfields. Hickam Field, northwest of Honolulu, and the Ford Island Naval Plane Base were the first objectives of Japan's treachery. Scores of planes were bruised and battered by the Japs' aerial bombs. Many of these were demolished beyond repair. Direct hits were scored on hangars, and these were badly shattered. Equipment and airplane supplies were reduced to smoldering ruins. Here at the Naval Air Station is grim and positive evidence of Jap treachery. Here foul blows were struck, while Jap diplomats were talking peace in Washington. America lost 3 destroyers. Here are seen the United States destroyers Downs and Shore as they rest on the bottom of Pearl Harbor with decks awash after Jap bombers make direct hits on their decks. First to feel the sting of Japanese steel are the USS Oklahoma and Utah, the latter a 33-year-old target ship. Accurate hits by the enemy bombers make short work of these 2 naval bulwarks. Now, with their keels practically out of water, they lie helpless wrecks and a sad reminder of cowardly strategy. To make possible a surprise attack within Pearl Harbor, the Japs built 2-man submarines to enable them to fire sneak blows within waters that are narrow and tortuous. Several of these surprise weapons were blown from the water by direct hits of our naval gunners. Others were beached and captured. While sky and sea fire was still raging, salvage crews inspected our naval craft to estimate what may be saved. Before the din of bursting bombs had been silenced, preparations were underway to salvage these 2 warships. At low tide, the huge propeller of the Oklahoma, stilled by the enemy, was high above water. It is believed that the small 2-man Jap submarines carrying dual torpedo tubes were responsible for these 2 losses to our Pacific Fleet. Here is the actual bombing of the mighty USS Arizona by Jap planes. These pictures were made by a fearless cameraman who thought nothing of his personal safety to make possible this record for all posterity. A single lucky hit was responsible for the disaster that befell the Arizona when a Jap bomb falling directly through one of the battleship's funnels exploded in the engine room and set ablaze tons of fuel oil. Dense black smoke billowed to the sky as the massive control tower began to keel over. The Arizona's courageous crew stuck to its guns until the very end. Here was displayed heroism that will live forever in the glorious annals and traditions of the American Navy. The once mighty Arizona now rests on Pearl Harbor's muddy bottom, a pitiful relic of its former self, a grim monument to the treachery of Japan. The once mighty dreadnought's armor plate is twisted and torn, but the great battleship's control tower still stands, a defiant beacon that in days to come will cast its shadow upon Nippon's very shores. At Pearl Harbor, at Hickam Field, in the bomb-pocked streets of Honolulu, ever is written history. History with a tragic, treacherous pen. History that 130 million Americans will never forget. And in days to come, the Japs, too, will remember Pearl Harbor. Here is a tragic, unforgettable page in the annals of America. Here, the cunning deceit of the Japs will never be forgotten. Here, they hoped to score a knockout before the war began. The Arizona's gun crews, battered and broken, fired to the last. Their guns pointed skyward, from whence the enemy appeared. The Jap sneak blow cost hundreds of military and civilian lives. The treacherous attack cost our Pacific Fleet 2 battleships outright, another capsized, the loss of 3 destroyers and a mine layer.
So, yeah, so that's what we...
While bombs were still...
So that's what we remember today. Oh, I didn't let it finish. Anyway, that's what we remember today. It obviously, now when you go back and learn some of the history of it, that we actually probably knew about this attack, and it was an excuse to used as, I don't know if excuse is the way to put it, to get into the war, because it probably necessary that we did get into that war. It's just fascinating to see how our government works, and we've seen it in subsequent wars, that so many things that you're told or assume are being told to you as the truth are not the truth. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much, Gamer Beline, with the $4.99 through YouTube Super Chat, who says there are still hangars in Hickam Air Force Base from that day. They never patched the bullet holes. Yeah, a couple of ships are still there. You can tour that area. There's the memorials. You can see the ships underwater. Yeah, it's amazing. But just all the things that just not everything the government tells you is true. as we learn more and more. So I'm got to tell you, the one thing that one of several things that kind of pushed me over the edge as far as whether or not I would vote for Trump in 2020 was the fact that Donald Trump didn't get us into any new conflicts, and was generally trying to pull us out of conflicts. I am one of those. I'm kind of I think there's a lot more people like this, like me, the anti-war right. Do we need to have our fingers in everything? Are we able to do what we need to do from where we are, instead of having to be out and be the world's police? Should our allies be more responsible for their areas of the world, and we can deploy in as faster probably than any country in the world. So anyway, it is a solemn day, a big waste of life and talent. Was Pearl Harbor Day. May those people and their families have peace in the long aftermath of that event. Obviously, someone asked if there was a part 2 to this. Yeah, there was a part 2, and we were very successful in part 2 of that event, and thankfully, we and our allies prevailed, because I can't imagine what would have happened had we not prevailed in that time. So anyway, that's it for today, people. I have a couple extra bonus links in the link thing today. So there'll be a few articles that I didn't get to that you will see, but that's it for today. So as you know, before you do anything, please hit the like button if you like what we do, and if you can, share the stream out, do all the things that we ask. If you're watching on the replay, put a comment in the comment section, and all that stuff. And thank you for all the donors today. Chicago Mike, Gunfox 61, Purple Pill Perspective. This is Kyle, Johnny Hellcat, X Bubba Hotep, and Gamer Valine. Thank you for your generous donations to the show. We'll keep the show running because you guys make it happen. And everyone who's in the chat and everyone who's lurking, everyone who's here, thank you so much. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. And we'll be back tomorrow for the Morning Night Live. That's it for today. I got to go. My name is PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.